Hello, I debated presenting this, and it's not something I would normally share and put on LinkedIn, but I felt it was necessary to tell others the story of what's going on, as I know that many people with whom I've spoken with are not fully familiar with everything, and they believe that there's lots of options, when in fact there's only one narrative that's being pushed out there. I'm not asking for a debate over the one narrative medical treatment. I am asking for compassion and understanding of all beings. Understanding that not everyone fits into a one-size-fits-all option. I have permission from my partner to tell his story. Back in 2007, just before Christmas, my partner experienced some physical symptoms that we didn't fully pay attention to. And so on Christmas Day, my partner woke up with facial paralysis and double vision. At Christmas dinner, my father had to tell my partner to go to emergency because his eyes were not looking in the same direction. And so on Boxing Day, we were sitting in the emergency room waiting CAT scans and MRIs to see what was going on. A few days later, my partner was sent to a neurologist and diagnosed with a severe autoimmune disease. 2007, we were challenged with physical ailments. In 2021, we are facing a different challenge, one of trying to keep a job in the face of a one-size-fits-all policy that many institutions are imposing. Since that 2007 episode, my partner has done much research on the various treatment options available and decided to take ownership of his body, and he made specific changes to his lifestyle rather than risk the side effects of powerful but often harmful drugs. He made decisions based on informed consent. He became informed about the disease, about all the various treatment options, and consented to one option that resonated with him. Over the past 14 years, my partner has managed this autoimmune disease so that he has minimized any episodes. MRIs still show some lesions on the brain, but probably far fewer than what he may have had if he did not take action on his body. 2021, and he is now facing the challenge of no jab, no job. My partner has worked from home now since March 2020, and his job can be done at home online. And in fact, his office building is under construction until late 2022 anyways, so his department will be working from home still. My partner is extremely careful about going out, mainly because he's taking care of his mother in long-term care. And because of that, he's had to have over 100 sticks up his nose weekly or more frequently for testing purposes. But because of these new rules implemented by government institutions, pushing one medical option only, my partner has applied for a medical exemption based on the fact that he has an autoimmune disease that is considered a disability. The known and documented side effects of these one-size-fits-all medical actions include Bell's palsy and facial paralysis. My partner has had these symptoms and optical neuritis as well in his episodes. And the myelin sheath on the nerves are already now damaged, and any further lesions may cause permanent blindness. So we ask, why should he take something where the risk of blindness and side effects are greater than the risks of the virus? Some of you may be saying to yourself, oh yes, he can apply for medical exemption, no problem. But are you aware that many institutions are requiring a doctor to fill out their specific form to provide a note, or provide a specific note? Are you also aware that doctors, specialists, neurologists have been told by the College of Physicians and Surgeons not to give out exemptions or they will lose their license? We know this from our own personal experience, having asked the neurologists and doctors. So the organization is asking for a note, but the doctors won't give a note. And then the company asks for a note to say that the doctors can't give a note. How ludicrous does that sound to you? A note that says the doctors can't give an exemption note. That is what I said. The other thing that bothers me here is that my partner has to beg for a medical exemption and approval. Is my partner's body his? I do believe that the Canadian Bill of Rights, Section 7, or Charter of Rights, Section 7, states that he is entitled to life, liberty, and bodily security. In essence, bodily autonomy. No one has lived in my partner's shoes. No one can tell him what he experienced. And no one should be able to tell him what he can or cannot put into his body as a medical treatment. And our Canadian rights are supposed to protect that. The Chief Medical Officer of Health for our region and others have invalidated my husband's experience by saying that other people with this autoimmune disease have taken this medical treatment, so he can too. In our society of equity, diversity, and inclusivity, EDI, we are supposed to be listening to all voices and not gaslighting them or invalidating each individual's unique experiences. So tell me, how can a medical officer of health or an HR manager tell my partner, without fully knowing what he experienced, that it is okay to put something into his body that carries a severe risk of blindness for him? Who is going to take care of my partner if he goes blind? He certainly won't be able to do his job of maintaining the maps and the data for the infrastructure for the region. Are you aware that many institutions are not providing options such as testing? They're only offering one option. Some police forces within these institutions are permitted testing instead of the forced medical intervention. Yet, another aspect of the government institution has deemed that my partner must follow a one-size-fits-all policy or be terminated with cause. The provincial government actually allows for options. You can look it up. But many institutions are choosing not to provide that. This is discriminatory. It's against these EDI policies that so many of these institutions are supposedly following. Since when do we have a one-size-fits-all? We know it doesn't work for the Indigenous peoples or BIPOC or people with different abilities or different religious or spiritual beliefs or the LGBTQ communities. So why would it work in this case? Are you aware that my husband is facing termination with cause because he does not comply to the one-size-fits-all policy, because he values his eyesight, he values his body? With cause means that he would get no severance after being with an institution for 18 years. It means that he does not get EI after paying in for nearly 25 years. Most people are not aware of this. They believe that medical and religious exemptions are being provided. They are not. Most are being denied. And really, disabilities and religious beliefs should not have to be proven. Again, the Canadian Charter of Rights states that we do not need to prove a disability. Why do we even need to ask for someone else to give us an exemption? That is giving up our bodily autonomy and sovereignty. This Christmas, please think through what is truly happening out there. People like my partner are either facing job loss or have already become unemployed, not because of performance, but because they've made informed consent decisions over their own bodies. It's not happening everywhere. There are many American states like Florida, Texas, many others, other countries like Japan that have other options. But it is happening here in Canada. We do not need to punish good people because they know their own bodies and take control over their own lives and health. I am asking you all to question. Question the narrative that is being driven by our mainstream media. Question the narrative that is being driven by our governments. Doesn't matter the party. Question what is truly going on here. And it is time to say no. This ends when we say no.